Hi, folks. I'm Jamie Hiles.
I'm Lydia Judy.
And I'm the man with the plan, Derek Lemaster.
This is Scream Bloody Movies, podcast where we review a horror movie each week, go over the horror news, and Derek apparently is the mastermind. You remind me of Hannibal from the A-Team.
Well, I get that a lot.
You always got to have a plan. People always say I remind them of Liam Neeson.
Yeah.
You know what? That was a good one, right? I really liked that movie.
I've not seen it.
I've never seen that
You
one
never
either.
saw? You guys have never seen the A-Team movie?
I mean,
Like the newer one?
I saw the
Yeah.
old TV show, but I have not seen the new
Well, of course,
the movie.
we grew up on the old TV show, but the movie's actually a lot of fun. I like it a lot. It's kind of a blast. I have it. I went to the movies and saw it and was like, bought that one on Blu-ray. It's a lot of fun. I'm not saying it's like high art or anything, but it's not what we do in this podcast. We do schlock fun. So it's right up our alley.
I found out
dabble
something
into
about
some
myself.
art. What's
Speaking of other genre movies, I found out that I can only watch action and horror. That's it. That's all I can watch.
You can't watch comedies? You can't watch comedies?
Nope. No comedies.
No dramas?
No dramas. Nothing in between. It's gotta be horror or action, and that's it.
And sci-fi, I guess.
Sci-fi, I'll make an exception.
You know, there are
I
worse
put that in horror.
genres to be like
They're what? They're...
focused on. I said there are worse genres to be focused on.
Yeah. I can watch I could watch every genre movie, but I of course prefer horror, obviously, that's why we have this. But you know, I like a good comedy. Obviously, there's comedy in all the stuff that we do. And I was thinking about it the other day. I watched Ghostbusters the other night. Ghostbusters 1 and 2. And I mean, those are, you know, sci-fi horror comedies, but I mean,
Action.
Ghostbusters fucking slaps. The first Ghostbusters still is like at another level. We'll have to do it for the show because it has horror elements. And you know what? People talk shit about Ghostbusters 2. Also fucking slaps. Also great. Right? I mean, come on. Love those movies. You know what else I love? Just for any listeners out there, Star Wars.
Love me some Star Wars.
We love Star Wars on this podcast, isn't that right?
There's my armor that I built right here.
Star Wars. I have Star Wars shit, not here, but over there. There's a whole shelf of it. Whole shelf of Star Wars shit. A wall. It's everywhere. All right, guys. Before we get into this week's movie of Talk to Me, I'm going to start with a little bit of horror news. Now, here's the thing. I don't have a lot. Not a lot happened. I mean, I will say that later, tomorrow when this airs, so, I mean, this has already happened, but as of this recording, when we record it, tomorrow we're getting the trailer for Vaccine. So we'll finally see.
Okay.
Yep, we'll finally see what that's about. So that's exciting. But other than that, like there's not a whole lot of big new horror news. The first Omen came out this week and apparently is getting good reviews, and then also some not so good reviews, like pretty much everything.
Mm-hmm.
But most of the people that I follow seem to like it a lot and have nothing but good things to say about this thing. So I'm excited to see it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we all really enjoyed the original Omen, so we haven't gotten to any of those sequels yet. We do have a trailer. I'm not going to show it, but we do have a teaser trailer for the Bambi movie. Is out.
Really?
Bambi. Is this part of the
Yes.
fairy tale death universe thing?
It is part of the Poonaverse, as they called it.
The Poonaverse. Dude, that sounds like a 80s porn stash.
It does. Give me some of that poon. Yep, sure does.
Man, this is my Poonaverse right here. Look at all these. I've got a Playboy. Sorry. They could have phrased it any worse, I think.
You know what's funny?
did.
You know what's funny is how, like, back in the day, like, if you would ever find an adult VHS back in the day, they like had like the biggest boxes known to man. Like, so you had like the the VHS tape, but then the box was like 3 times bigger. It's just like this big war chest. We've got to make sure we fit
Like-
all of the boobs on this. Mm. Oh yeah, classic. I remember sneaking into old the Video West porn section when I was a kid, and sneaking in, and I was like, not only was like, oh, look at all the booze, but I was like, these boxes are huge. I'm a physical media collector, so I was like, look at the size of those boxes.
Oh boy,
this is interesting. We got a little. We haven't watched this movie yet, but you guys remember Russell Crowe's The Pope Exorcist, right? The Pope's Exorcist.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, remember hearing about it.
Well, he said that there's still talks about a sequel. Apparently, the original producers wanted to do a trilogy of Pope's Exorcist movies. And the first one made $76 million last year, and has been at the top of the Netflix's streaming chart since it came out. So it's like he said that there's been a change at the studio, but he's open to it, and since it made money, it's likely that we'll get another one of those movies. So Russell Crowe has himself a horror franchise. What do you guys feel about that? I mean, we haven't seen the movie yet, but how do you feel about Russell Crowe leading a horror franchise?
That's wild. That's so weird. I mean, I haven't seen it, but I have heard a lot about the movie. I think I even listened to like a podcast about it.
I'm sure we'd think it was fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
so weird.
A great actor. So
well, yeah, Academy Award-winning actor. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, he can do anything he wants to. He's Russell freaking Crowe. He was Superman's dad.
He was Superman's dad.
Jor-El.
You know what? As much as I am open for this, I think first he needs to make a sequel to The Nice Guys, because I don't know if you The Nice Guys is fucking hilarious, isn't it?
It's pretty great. Yeah.
Oh my god, Lydia, if you haven't seen The Nice Guys, it's on Netflix. You got to watch it. It's
all right.
It's at another level. It's one of the my favorite Shane Black movies. It's he and Ryan Gosling as private detectives. It's oh my gosh! When that came out and I watched it, I immediately put it on after it was over and watched it again because I thought it was so good. I was like, oh my god!
Does it fit into the action category?
It's action, comedy, mystery.
All right,
so
I think we can make
like
that
a
work.
film noir kind of thing. It's so good, isn't it, Derek?
It is. And they had really great chemistry.
Oh yeah, their jokes are so funny. They're so funny. Some of the stuff they say. It's Shane Black, the writer of Lethal Weapon. I mean, Lethal Weapon, Last Boy Scout. Iron Man 3. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, which is another great one.
Love that movie.
Yeah, well, it's like Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
I figured it
very,
was, yeah.
very much like that. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is also a great one. It's hilarious
movie.
too.
It's like my 2 biggest crushes.
Oh, Val Kilmer and Downey Jr.?
Yes.
Val Kilmer is so funny in that movie.
Yeah.
One of my favorite lines is when he says, because his name's Gay Perry, and he's like, so are you really gay? He's like, no, I'm swimming in pussy. I just like the name. So good. So good. What the hell is this? So, last but not least, we have our what the hell? We have our first look. Our first looks at Christian Bale and Jessie Buckley as Frankenstein and his bride in the upcoming Maggie Gyllenhaal movie, The Bride. You guys want to see him?
I'm excited.
I saw it. I saw it already.
Here we go.
But yeah, show us.
Eric, you're going to see it? All right, you ready?
Yep.
Here's her as the bride. Okay, it's very understated, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just some makeup. Looks like she just like chewed on an ink pen, like for Pee Wee's Big Adventure. She got a hold of
Yeah.
Franklin's gum.
Oh my god.
And then we have Christian Bale here as Frankenstein's monster.
Oh, that looks cool.
It does. I do not love this.
The tattoo.
The hope.
Hey, fuck it, dude. The tattoo brings fucking Joker vibes to me. Jared Leto Joker vibes.
Yes.
Don't
and
love
the
it,
crow.
And the crow, yeah. Though I do think his design is really good.
Yeah.
I think his makeup is
like
good,
his
and I like
face looks really cool.
yeah, and the way the stitches are on his head look really great too. But I do not love the tattoo. I'm like, why? Why is this a thing lately? That they,
Yeah.
movies are just like, you know what? Everybody needs to have tattoos that spell out exactly how damaged they are. In the case of the Joker, it literally says damaged across his forehead, guys. Subtlety was not in the cards for that one.
Yeah, no kidding. I didn't even think about that. That's so cheesy.
And yes, his smile on his hand is also fucking terrible and dumb. There's so much wrong with it. Ugh.
So
That's the
before
worst
we move
Joker.
on from this, because you threw the picture up there on that like smear, do you guys remember Ernest Goes to Jail?
Yeah.
You remember when he's chewing on the pen and he breaks the pen?
When he's
and then
jury
he's, like,
duty?
shoving paper in his mouth and he's got ink all over his face.
Yeah, I remember that.
That was classic.
That's great. Dude, the Ernest movies are at another level. I love them still.
Dude, I can't wait to show my Clark Ernest Goes to Camp.
Yeah. All
I
of them.
remember watching that when I was a kid.
Ernest Scared Stupid is a great one to show. But yeah, I remember watching all of those, especially I went to the movies to see Ernest Goes to Jail and Ernest Scared Stupid. I was a big Ernest head back in the day. I stuck it out, man. Even when he started hitting the direct-to-video ones, I remember renting Ernest Goes to Africa, and that was fucking horrible. But I remember seeing it.
I think the last one that I saw was Ernest Saves Christmas.
That's
the
a
last
great
one I saw.
You never watched Ernest Rides Again?
No.
That's a good one. That's the one where like he's like after like a treasure. It's pretty fun. Ernest Saves Christmas rules. That's a really good one.
I think peak Ernest was
I think Ernest Goes to Jail is the best one.
Ernest Goes to Jail is probably the best movie, but I think as a kid, Ernest Scared Stupid just
yeah. That's also the great one, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll have to do Ernest Scared Stupid for the around Easter. Around Halloween, we're gonna have to hit it up. I think we should throw them off. We'll do it next week.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So it's time to get into Talk to Me. So, none of us have seen this before. This was our first time watching it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Did we have any, like, did you guys hear anything about it prior?
Not really.
I was intrigued by the trailer. I saw the trailer and it looked like a kind of a cool concept, but I hadn't heard anything about it. No.
Yeah. So here's the thing about it. I hadn't seen it either, but I had heard some stuff. Nothing like plot related, just reviews on like Twitter and stuff, and people talking about how terrifying it is and how scary it is, and how it's like the most, the scariest movie they've seen in like forever. And then I had some other people that are like, meh, it's okay, and up to it was terrible. So I didn't know what to hear, but I was kind of hyped for it because I was like, oh, I'm hearing a lot of these. It's really scary, scary, scary. So I went in with decent expectations, like, okay, and now we're going to discuss if it met those expectations or not. What do you guys think of the overall premise of this movie?
Like of the hand itself, kind of like
just the concept, the lore behind
the concept. I like it. I like the hand. I like the confusion. Like they don't really tell you like exactly like what it is, where it came from. It's just kind of like, oh well, someone gave it to me. So there's that mystery.
Yeah. We have like a stock backstory, like a myth backstory. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it is like pretty creepy looking.
Yeah, I think the design of the hand is actually really cool.
Mm-hmm. It's
What
like
do you think, Derek?
realistic, like it's not like over the top.
Right. You're muted, buddy. Started off early.
Jesus. Anyway, what I was gonna say is I think the premise is really cool, and I love the style choice for the hand, right? Because it acts as like a doorway or a conduit to the spirit realm, and as
Hmm.
soon as you grab hold of it, you see if there's any spirits around you. You get to see them, and then you invite them in. You like talk to me.
You have a choice, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess
Yeah, it's
you
like
grab onto it and you say talk
And
to
you
me,
say,
and then you
"Talk to
do it,
me."
right? And
yeah,
then you
Yeah,
say
and
I let you in.
yeah, and then that's when they possess you.
definitely
Um,
plays on like the Ouija board kind of
It does
it
to a
kind
also,
of
I
certain
mean,
that
degree.
what?
kind of movie, you know.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, 100%. It also is an allegory that I'll get to here in a minute. But I will talk about the hand itself. The design of it is really cool. Like, because it's like that kind of porcelain, kind of like,
Yeah.
and the way it's kind of just sitting there like that's really kind of a creepy, cool image. They
Mm-hmm.
did a good job with that, and that's what a lot of the marketing surrounding it. And I think the box set for it, the expensive box set, comes with the hand, which is really cool.
No way.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me see if I can find it. Yeah, here it is. It's like the super expensive one, but I'll show it to you. It's kind of cool. Let me share my screen.
I wonder what it's made of.
Super expensive. What's your
Is it
Like
like
definition?
230
ceramic?
bucks. Look at this.
Holy crap.
Okay. It's just plain, like you could write your own stuff
Yeah,
on it.
you can write your own shit on it, but it has like the cool freaking the box that comes with it, all this stuff. It's really neat,
Huh.
right? That's
It is
that's a
pretty cool.
great collector set.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
It is kind of cool.
Yeah. That is, I mean, that's really cool when a scary movie does something like that, you
Oh
know?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Love it. I have a couple of really cool box sets, but I mean none that have hands with them. But
You
I
don't have
have
an
a
Adams Family one that has a
thing.
hand.
No, I do have a an Inception that came with the script. That's kind of cool.
It's
Nice.
pretty
I
cool.
have a Dark Knight that came with the Harvey Dent's coin.
I remember that. Yeah. Oh yeah, I
That's the only
forgot
thing I
about
have,
that.
I think, that.
I have a ton. I also have this Tomorrow Never Dies VHS from back in the day that came with the shooting script as well. That's pretty cool. That was a really cool box set back in the day. But so yeah, but the concept is a cool high concept. Obviously once we get into it, we find out that like, the kids are doing this. That's kind of like, I mean, it's an allegory for drug use, kids
Mm-hmm.
getting high.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Because they get a high off of being
Yeah.
possessed. So they're kind of like doing it for this. What do you guys think of our lead characters? So I mean, we have Mia, who is our protagonist, who has been dealt a loss of her mother, so she's grieving, and then she has a best friend named Jade, and basically she's like the surrogate member of their family because her dad is like she can't talk to her dad because when she sees him she sees grief pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
So she's kind of cut him out. So they're like their surrogate family. What do you guys think of their characters and their dynamic?
Dude, I love their mom. Their mom is
Yeah.
like so cool. Like there
Mhm.
that a couple of scenes she's like, don't be throwing a party, and she's trying to trick the kid. I know there's a
Dude, my
party.
favorite. Yeah, I love when she is trying to like, which is, hey you, my daughter's vagina's off limits. They're just like, oh my god. Yeah, it's so good.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah, she's
good.
my favorite character. Uh, Mia as a protagonist, I have some issues with. Um, I mean, she is clearly not a very good person. Because she tries to make amends, but she makes just some selfish decisions and selfish mistakes.
Right. Which I
Yeah,
think does like humanize her. Like she kind
It
of
does.
seems so real. Like the
Oh
way
yeah,
she
she's definitely
dresses,
flawed.
even, like she's not one of these like main characters who is like, Sarah Michelle Gellar, for example, or something, like she's not like dressed perfectly all the time. Like she's like a 17-year-old or something that's just like kind of a misfit and is like doesn't really fit in or anything.
Oh yeah, I think it's good. I think it's good character writing. It's just she's infuriating.
Yeah, she's weird.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, she's also going
some trauma on top of it
through a lot. Yeah, I mean
she is.
That's her big issue is, she thinks her mom. I mean, she knows her mom committed suicide, and I can't wait till we get into like all of that and like what plays out at the end. But I mean, that would kind of mess you up to a certain degree, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are scenes where you're just like, you are making the absolute worst mistakes you could possibly be making right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think the whole everybody is in the movie besides the mom is kind of stupid. You know what I mean? Like
they're kids.
Yeah, so they're just so dumb. Kids are so dumb. Like
kids are so dumb.
I mean, the fact that first of all, they are doing this game where they're just, letting spirits possess them.
Yeah. Dumb.
And they're like, "Oh yeah, by the way, there's a rule if we can't go over 90 seconds because then they'll want to stay." Oh, also, by the way, forgot to tell you, we know this guy who fucking killed himself and tried to kill his brother because he saw spirits, but we're still going to use it.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, definitely dumb.
I mean, for the parallel that it draws, I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
I think it's spot on.
I could tell you, I would say, nah, I'm good. Kind of like
you
Jade.
Know what,
Jade's actually the smartest character.
Yeah.
I think Jade is secretly our lead. Like she's the role as far as
she's the protagonist.
She performs the role of a normal protagonist. Yeah.
Yeah. I agree.
Because she makes the smart decisions. She's, trying to save her brother, trying to save everybody. So we're following our protagonist is a flawed protagonist, but she's not the final girl. Jade is.
Right, yeah, you're right.
They pull us a little bait and
this
switch.
Is kind of a parallel, a little bit more just like an observation of myself. So do you guys ever get on Facebook those 15 years ago, this is what you were doing?
Oh, memories?
Did you ever get those? Yeah, the memories.
Yeah.
No.
I am pretty sure that like everybody, if they are on Facebook long enough, will go through an emo stage on Facebook, man. Because like my timeline from like 18 years ago, 15 years, like I was going through a breakup, like a couple of them popped up, and I'm just like, man, I was super emo back then. I'm like, hide these posts. Don't show anybody these again.
Yeah, I deleted my old Facebook and got rid of everything on it. Not that it was like, I mean, maybe it probably was emo, but like, I hate seeing that of like, what were you doing 15 years? No. I'm starting to get them now that, what were you doing last year? And I'm like, I don't want to know. Don't tell me.
I like getting those. It makes me laugh. But yeah, I see those sometimes. I only had a couple that are funny. I had a few. Most of them are just like mine are always like vague. And I read it and it's like, like it's confused today. And I was like, I bet you a girl I was like didn't talk to me that day, like trying to figure out what I was. But then I see really funny shit. Like I posted like a funny thing and I'm like, I was funny even back then. Still had it.
Mm-hmm.
I got one today before we move on. I got one today where I was on a trip with some friends from college and I had fallen asleep in the car like this, and they put a Kit Kat in my mouth and took a picture. So I'm like, and there's a Kit Kat bar sticking out of my mouth, and I'm like, you sons of bees.
That's really funny. Like today, I got one that I have like a police mustache, a police hat and a mustache. I don't know why, but that's one of the things I see. So
there you go.
So I keep them. And also, Derek, you'll like this. There's a memory that popped up 10 years ago today is when Brock Lesnar beat the Undertaker streak at WrestleMania. because there's a great picture that popped up of me and Andrew like this when it happened. Like, we were so shocked.
Man, this is a side tangent. Maybe I'll cut it out. Maybe I'll keep it. I got to ask you this question because what's his face brought it up at like one of the conventions, and he talks, Paul Heyman.
Yeah.
So do you think that his like, oh, this could be true, it could not be true thing of Brock Lesnar just did it without permission?
No. Million percent no.
I agree.
$1,000,000% no.
Like,
that's a business.
Cool... Yeah.
What I the way how it works is, from what I heard, is Taker didn't know up until the match. Up until the match, everybody assumed that Taker was going over, which he was supposed to. And then shortly before, Vince is like, hey, he's going to go over. So that was the finish. But the way the finish happened is different because Undertaker got concussed like 2/3 of the way through the match. So Lesnar had to like kind of get him through it and do it without causing further injury. So it's interesting. The wrestling business is an interesting business. It's an interesting way of life. Good entertainment, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll probably cut that tangent out, but because it has nothing to do with Talk to Me. So
that's okay.
But so we get our setup. Mia invites. She gets a phone call from Riley, which is Jade's brother, to come and pick him up because Jade forgot to. And that's how we're introduced to everybody. And Mia wants to go to this party that's coming on. And this woman, what's her name? Brandy, I think. Brandy hosts these parties, and with the Talk to Me hand and all this, and she wants to see if it's true because it's the year anniversary of her mother's. Haley, not Brandy. Haley is the name. But it's the anniversary of her mother's passing and all this. So she talks Riley into going with her, or Riley talks his way into going with him too, and they go to the seance, so to speak. What did you guys think of the scene when we first see the hand in action?
It's pretty intense. Says, okay, so our character goes first, right?
Yes, Mia is the first one to go.
And okay, this was gonna bring. Actually, I was gonna say this earlier when we were talking, and I completely lost my train of thought. But that character that hosts the parties, Haley, was saying how annoying Mia is. He's like, oh, Mia's so annoying. Like, I don't even want her here, And that kind of made so much sense for that character too, where it's like, she really is cool, but like she doesn't fit in. Like, these people, like these kids are so mean too. Like, they're so harsh.
Yeah, Haley's weird herself. I mean, it's like you're walking around with a severed hand.
Essentially, she's
a drug dealer.
Yeah. Anyway, go ahead and
finish. So she's the dealer. She's the dealer. So what do you think, Derek, of the when we see the possession?
So
the first one, at least.
First off, if you're someone who's looking, onto Mia as she's going through this, and there's a point where they're not breathing and all that stuff, and they're like, oh no, wait, it'll pass. I'm like, what do you mean it'll pass? She looks like she's dying. Like, there's no way I would do that. That would, But yeah, it's a cool scene. I think it really lends itself to the movie, and it starts to pull you into what it's trying to get across. And I really love when we start seeing some of the ghosts.
Yeah, the ghosts look pretty good, I think.
They look super good.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. Like, really creepy looking. The second one, the second seance, because we'll just skip to it because really we just get character development the next bit. Mm-hmm. The second one where the shit hits the fan, it's like a full out party scene. So we get to see all of it. Well, it's really funny and disturbing when old boy Jacob, is that his name? what the hell?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think so.
Daniel. When old Daniel gets the hand and he starts like coming essentially, I guess.
Yeah. That was weird.
That's super awkward, right?
That was really crazy scene.
Well,
What'd you think of that bit?
she so the ghost looks right at what's her face and says essentially he's not really into you.
Yeah, you make him soft, I think is what she said.
Yeah, you make him soft, and then starts like moaning and like he's having an orgasm. It is really weird. And then when he falls down and the dog's he's making out with the dog,
Yeah.
and they're all laughing and like taking video of it, and then he comes out of it and is like, "Delete your videos."
I mean, I would want them to delete that video as well.
Me too.
Yeah.
I would not do it in the first place, but well, I probably would because I don't believe. So I'd be like, well, whatever.
That's what me and Jake were talking about. I was like, Jake, you would do it, wouldn't you? He's like,
but
yeah,
here's the
I won't
thing.
believe it.
If I grabbed the hand and I saw a ghost, then I'd be like, okay, I'm out. I'm out now. I'm not definitely going to invite it in. There's no way.
Right. Yeah.
There's no way.
No.
Yeah.
Well, what the scary part is that, and we don't, and I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but the scary part was it's a two-way door.
Yeah.
They can invite you in.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy and pretty cool, but we'll get there.
But so what's interesting is everybody's having a blast at it. Mia never does it, by the way.
Nope.
Mia never does it.
Is she the okay? Wait, which one is?
Or not Mia? I'm sorry, Jade never does it. Jade never does it.
Jade. Okay, Jade and Mia.
Yeah, Jade never does it. She never partakes, as they were. She's like me at a party when I was a kid. I was basically I was house mom. I was sober, and everybody else was drunk around me, and I'm just like, all right, somebody has to be sober for this mess.
Man, I partook in drinking, but nothing else. So, yeah, I've had to be the ED or party mom.
I've party mommed for you too, Derek. Let's not lie.
No. I'm not saying I haven't partaken in the alcoholic or not alcoholic, but the alcohol consumption, but nothing else.
Yes. There was one time that we'll tell the story actually at the end of the episode about at Muncie, Derek. We'll tell that one. That's a good one. But
a couple. Anyway.
Yeah, a couple. But yeah, so here's where Mia is just like I think just makes the worst decisions and is like the worst. Like two things here. First of all, she lets Riley do it, even though his sister expressly said not to because he's a kid. Expressly tells him not to. Doesn't want anything to do with it, and then she gets fooled by this ghost into thinking it's her mom. Of course. And she holds on. You're supposed to only be in there for, what is it, 90 seconds?
90 seconds.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, and he holds on for 2 minutes because she grabs his hand and holds it on there and won't let him break the connection. That's some dangerous shit. That's some villain shit there. Some villain shit.
Well, and I'm not.
She's desperate.
I'm not convinced that initially it wasn't her mom.
Oh, it 100% never was her mom.
Yeah,
100%
at the end,
never
it
was.
100% wasn't, or thereafter.
It never was.
But...
No, it never was. They knew about her mom because they already took her over.
Yeah,
they already got inside. And the way that I understand it is the spirits that are conjured through the hand are the spirits that are trapped in the hand. Hence the ending.
Oh, I guess I missed that part.
Yeah. It's like a purgatory. That's what she says. Do you remember? If you die with the spirit inside you, then you're trapped in the purgatory. which is what happened to the guy in the opening, which we totally skipped, by the way. We'll talk about that here in a second.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Oh,
it never was
yeah.
her mom. Never was the mom. It was always the spirits trying to manipulate her.
Mm. I'll go with you. I didn't catch that piece, but I'll go with that because at
I'll
the
tell you why
end,
here in a minute.
100% is not.
So here's why the ending happens the way it does too, and we'll talk about it. But the opening, we follow the guy through the party,
Mm-hmm.
and
His
it's
name's
that big
Cole.
wonder shot. And yeah, we don't know what's going on. We're like, what the hell is going on here? And then we meet. He grabs his brother, and he's trying to get him out of there. Duckett is the brother's name, and so they
Duckett.
get him. Yeah, which is a fucking terrible name, by the way. Don't ever name your kid Duckett. But
Maybe it was a family name. You don't
maybe,
know.
I guess. So they're walking through doing the whole he gets them out and they're walking out, and then he just attacks his brother with a knife and kills himself. Stabs himself in the head with a knife. What'd you guys think of that opening?
That's a strong opening for a horror movie, I think. I
I
really
agree.
liked it.
Yeah, it was because initially you don't know where you're going with this movie, and to have an opening like that, and it was kind of shrouded because they cut from that into something completely different, and they didn't come back to it until like midway through the movie.
we meet Mia, I think, right after that.
Yeah,
So it's
so it was definitely an intense way because he stabs his brother and then he stabs himself in the eye,
yeah,
kills himself.
Yeah, like really,
Crazy.
really hard.
yeah. So the reason he did that is
because he was tricked.
well, they describe it when they're going through the rules that if you die with the spirit inside, just one of the important rules towards the beginning is if you die, they say if you die with the spirit inside you, you're trapped with it.
But did she die with the spirit inside of her? Because she got to the point where she didn't need the hand to see the ghost anymore.
That's the same thing with Duckett. The spirit had attached itself to her.
Yeah.
So there was a spirit inside her manipulating her. Then there was the spirits inside.
That's why she was doing things she didn't know she was doing, like sucking on that kid's foot.
Well, I know that, but like the hand at that point, like because they forgot to blow the candle out. This is just my understanding of this. For the young boy,
right?
Like, and so the spirits like had a hold of him.
Yeah.
What's that?
They think that's why. But I think it was because it's not because of the candle. It's because he was in for over 2 minutes.
Yeah. And he was
young. It's because they said if it's in after 90 seconds, then they want to stay.
Man, how would you let somebody even go for 60, like past 60 seconds? How do they know it's
20?
90? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I guess trial and error, it seems like.
That poor kid too. That kid did an amazing job.
We're gonna let's talk about that scene where he gets. This is, I think, the best scene in the movie as far as horror is concerned or intensity. Is when he's possessed and he starts slamming his head into everything. So the purpose of that is they were trying to kill him, so that way they had him.
Yeah.
That's why they was trying to kill him.
And they knew already that him and her mom were like the closest like people that she cared about, and they were trying to get to her. They were trying to really like mess with her.
Kind of. They do say, the spirit does say when it takes over Mia that it likes Riley and it wants Riley for some reason. So they wanted Riley. And that's why when Riley comes back too, in the hospital, he tries to kill himself, is so that way his soul will be damned and stuck with them. That's the whole point. That's what's driving the plot.
Mm-hmm.
So that scene, what do you guys think of it?
It's that you're right. That is like probably the scariest scene in the whole movie. It's really intense, and yeah, it's hard to see.
I kind of went, a couple times.
Yeah. So did me and Jake.
It's brutal. It really is brutal. And that poor kid, man, you can't help but feel for him because, I mean, he's super young. He's younger than all the other people. He's just a tag along. It's her younger brother.
Yeah.
And I would never forgive myself if, I'd
Yeah.
let my brother come and, I don't know, my brother maybe, but be like, hey, Jay,
Well, like,
grab onto his hand and hold on to it as long as you can.
This kid is such a good kid. Like, he's such a sweetheart that he won't even like smoke a cigarette when like his best buddy is like hands him one. Like he's like, no, I'm not. I can't.
His best buddy's a douche, by the way.
Yeah, for sure. That's what I'm saying. These kids are mean.
They are. They're some brutal ass kids. Brutal ass kids. Yeah, it's the scariest scene. It's
and he's the sweetest kid in the whole movie.
Yeah, like it didn't scare me as like I was scared, but it definitely affected me. Like I was like, "Oh, that's brutal. Oh my god."
Yeah. It's like, oh, this is not intense. Good.
This is not fun violence.
Yeah.
Where I parked my car.
This is legit. So yeah, so basically he becomes the MacGuffin to push forward the rest of the movie, because then they're trying to break his connection with these spirits. And I'm also wondering, Derek, when you mentioned so they do the candle thing, and she doesn't know if it works. So then she decides to do the hand, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when she talks to that spirit, I'm also not 100% convinced that the spirit... I don't know if the door does really work both ways. I'm wondering if they wanted her to see him suffer so she would kill him.
That could be. Yeah, that could be.
Could be. I think the movie's really kind of too confusing to know if, like, the rules that they set are finite or the way that it is.
Right. Well, that's definitely that's what made me think that, like, they were just using the kid to get to her because, like, all those things were kind of, like, deeply affecting her and making it like her fault and making it, like it didn't do that to anybody else until she said like, oh, go ahead, it's fine, just go ahead and try it. And
I think
it used the boy to affect her and then affected her even more by like hurting him. It kept using the same thing like of like he needs you, like the mom kept saying like he needs your help.
Yeah, that's so they could get him to die so they would have his soul.
Right, yeah.
That's their goal, is to
they wanted two birds, one stone.
Yeah, so and that's what they tried to do, right, with Duckett. I mean, that was kind of the thing. And they wanted to take out the brother just to cause pain and then get a soul. And so that's why they so they try their whole bits, and then she's seeing. Well, first, guys, we got to talk about the whole the foot sucking scene. Yeah,
that was creepy.
I like to call it Quentin Tarantino's favorite scene.
Yeah,
it's the old Rex Ryan scene, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh my god.
What do you guys think of that? It's fucked up, right?
This is like, I mean, like, there's something about like these spirits. Really, they just are like decomposing people. Like they're like straight up dead people, and it is like pretty graphic. And when that old woman is like humming or something, and she like comes out of the corner, you're just like, oh man, that is the worst thing. I do not want to see that at night.
No, that was a creepy. That scene was disturbing. Not scary, but disturbing, like creepy. You're like, ugh.
Yeah. Like I wasn't like terrified, but I was like, ugh.
Yeah. You know what would be just as terrifying if you didn't see the ghost, but you wake up and your friend's sucking on your toe.
I mean, it makes
not just your toe,
your whole foot.
She had all the toes in her mouth.
Yeah, the entire foot was in there, and she's like, which, by the way, kudos for being able to fit that whole thing in there, right?
In a mouth or in a on a foot?
Yeah, oops. The whole foot in her mouth. Getting some toe jam.
Oh, nasty
indeed. Yeah, it's a really fucked up scene. So that's when she's starting to be isolated and starting to go crazy, because Mia basically snaps at this point, goes crazy, and starts listening to the fake spirit of her mother. Because again, her dad pulls her and says, "Hey, so here's what happened to your mom," because she asked her if she killed herself. She's like, "No, I would never do that. It was an accident." And then her dad reveals the suicide note. Hey, here it is. This is what happened. She's not in pain anymore, and the spirit's like, "Oh no, he's lying. It's not really. That's not what happened. That's not really your dad." And starts to manipulate her that way. And so, first of all, when you guys saw her stabbing her dad, right? I mean, we saw that coming from a mile away, right?
Yeah.
And we're helpless to stop it. Like, we're like,
exactly,
idiot! You're gonna stab your dad. Don't do it. He seems like a genuinely nice guy. He just gets stabbed in the neck, but doesn't die. But doesn't die.
I know. I was a little shocked by that.
I was like,
so was I.
Yeah, that was not a good. If you get scissors in the neck right there, you don't want to pull them out.
No.
Just leave them there.
I don't think just avoid getting scissors in the neck is what I would say. Just avoid it at all costs.
Definitely that.
Avoid it at all costs.
But if you ever find yourself in the situation, don't yank them out.
Call 911.
Call 911. Leave them there. They'll take them out.
So yeah, that of course she stabs him and then decides that she's going to free Riley from his pain, which is what the spirits want her to do. So she calls Jade to come over and tricks her basically into coming over to her house to help her, but she's actually at the hospital waiting to get Riley. And we get the end. What do you guys think of this ending bit? So
she sees the kangaroo. We didn't talk about the kangaroo.
Yeah.
Earlier in the movie, after she picks up Riley, they see a dying kangaroo on the road that had been hit by a car, and it was clearly suffering, and she couldn't put it out of its misery. She didn't have the heart, didn't have the stomach for it. And I don't blame her. I don't know if I could do that either,
No, it's hard, yeah.
But it was like one of those moral decisions. And then, so when she's in the hospital and she decides she calls her friend and tells her that she's at her house so that everybody is gone, and she gets the mom out of the room. And after the mom has that moment of, like, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have blamed you. It wasn't your fault. Like, there were no drugs.
You love him. You would never hurt him.
Yeah. You're his family just as much as we are, and it's so sweet. And you're like, finally, the only soft thing that she's done, she's just, and she's like, oh, can I just have a minute with him? And she sees like the hallucination of the kangaroo, and has the idea to like go
throw
road.
him into traffic. Yeah.
By
the way, I don't know how she got out of that hospital. First of all, got him up into the wheelchair and out of that hospital without anybody seeing. Fucking worst hospital staff.
Yeah.
Let's get 1 star for that hospital staff on Yelp.
Yeah.
They get 1 star.
Yeah.
So yeah, she has the quandary. She's there. She's at the roadside, and the spirit that's pretending to be your mom is urging her, "Hey, do it. Throw him in the traffic. End his suffering. I'll take care of him if you do. I'll watch over him." And she decides she can't do it, and throws herself into traffic.
Yeah, you're right. The spirit messed up by saying,
she said something.
She said, like, we will keep him forever or something.
Yeah, like, we'll watch over him.
Yeah, like implying that it was not just her, that it was like all the spirits that were in the hand.
Yes. And so she realizes that's not my mom, and so then she jumps into traffic, which I think she probably could have maybe just not pushed him into traffic. But I think she wanted to. She knows she's being controlled by these spirits, and she doesn't want to hurt him, so she throws herself into traffic. Yeah. We do get a really cool shot of inside the car.
Oh,
and we see the car's point of view where something just hits it, and they're like roll off. That's a pretty good shot. I like that. So before we talk about the very end, what do you guys think of her sacrifice and the tension building up to it?
It was definitely tense. I mean, that car crash really like made it more intense. I feel like just seeing like the other side of it. That's always something I think about, is like in accidents, like in situations where I'm just like, what are the people around this horrific thing like experiencing? And it's like, that's, you don't want to be those people, you know?
No.
That would ruin your day.
Yeah, I mean, it's you don't know what's going through her head, and maybe she thinks that this is the only way, like that she can stop herself from hurting him and free herself at the same time. And her story is just super tragic, right? Because she's battling all these like demons that she has, like the loss of her mom and the distancing of her, with her dad, and then she kills her dad. Well, we don't know if he actually died. Well, yeah.
No, we do know he doesn't die.
He gets in the elevator.
Well, I know that she, whenever he, what'd you say, Lydia?
He is able to walk out of the hospital.
Yeah, he's alive.
Oh.
And so is the kid.
So is the Riley. So when after she wakes up from the road and she, it looks like she's just hurt before the reveal happens, which of course we knew she was dead, right?
Yeah.
But before the reveal happens, she gets transported to the hospital. She sees her dad recovering in the room, and then she sees Riley recovering. Then she sees her dad fully healed walking out of the hospital into the elevator. And then she sees Riley, Jade, and her mom leaving the hospital. So both her father and
that part. Because one of the critiques I had about this movie was like the lack of closure.
No, we get closure on all that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Derek missed it. Derek, was this movie in color?
Motherfuckers. This movie was in color. I multitasked. I'm not gonna lie.
No, it happened so fast. It would have been pretty easy to miss. It kind of took me a minute to comprehend what was going on too.
It did me too, because I was like, "Is that her dad? Wait, what's going on?" Okay, that is her dad, and it's like, okay, so that's who she follows towards the elevator, as he, and he gets in before she can reach him, and then all the lights start to go off, and after she sees Riley and Jade walk out, she's in there in the darkness, and then she just sees the candlelight, indicating that she's trapped in the hand with the lost souls. And that's why when she goes to it, she sees the person, and she is the ghost with the talk to me. In Greece, by the way. They're in Greece.
Yeah. So she can't even like understand them.
Yeah. So what do you guys think of that ending?
I think that's really cool.
I did think that ending was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's a horribly tragic ending for her because she's stuck in damnation.
Yeah. And you wonder like what is she going to do when she's in that guy, when she is like possessing him.
Yeah, it's crazy. So she's stuck in there, but it's also super foreshadowed, by the way, in the scene with Riley when they're having their conversation, and she says she has a recurring nightmare where she's walking and she has no reflection, which she doesn't have a reflection at the end, and she's trying to talk and nobody can hear her. It's like she doesn't exist, which is exactly what happens at the end of the movie. So that was her biggest fear, was what came true. So I think the ending is also pretty cool. It's dark. It's kind of one of those endings that, of course, that's the ending. Like, it's almost like I wonder how they came up with it, because this feels like, to me, this would be an ending that I had, and then I reverse engineer how it happened. You know what I mean? Ah, yes. This is a great ending. How do we end up here?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just a strong ending for this kind of movie. A sad ending and a downer of an ending, but a cool, appropriate ending, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And that's talk to me, guys. What do you talk to me? What do you guys think? Talk to me about it. Give me your thoughts. Let's wrap.
I am okay. So I'll just say, I guess, in my watching the trailer, you know, when this started coming out, it was advertised pretty heavily, I feel like.
Yeah, it really
And I
was.
really thought that it was going to be really terrifying, like the first time I watched The Conjuring or something. Like I really thought
Yeah.
it was going to give me that real scare, and it didn't necessarily do that.
No.
Which is kind of a bummer, but at the same time, I do think it was a really good movie in its
Yeah.
own way. It just wasn't like, you know, like Conjuring level scary scares.
Yeah. What did you think about the scariness of it, Derek?
Um, so especially after she started seeing the ghosts, or the spirits without using the hand, like there were a lot of missed opportunities to really beef up the scares, right? So yeah, I feel like that was the biggest miss, um, about this movie, to like move it up the scale a little bit. I thought the movie itself was pretty solid. I did enjoy the story that it was trying to tell. I thought it was interesting. Um, and I did leave the movie, which I'm sure this is the intention that they had, the director, and the writers, that you left the
Directors.
directors,
Yeah, it's a
more than one, huh?
brother duo. It's a brother duo.
Oh, okay,
Danny and Michael Filippo.
gotcha. But they, I left that movie and I was sad. I mean, it was a true tragic story of, this girl, and like succumbing to the demons, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that assessment with both of you guys. Like I also seeing the trailers and then hearing people talk about how scary it was. I was like, oh man, maybe this will get me. Maybe this will give me a little bit of the spooks. And then sorry to say, I didn't feel scared at all. Like there was some tension. I felt the tension, which is good, and I
Mm-hmm.
did dig the story. But it wasn't that scariness. I still think The Ring is probably scarier.
Yeah.
Um, and maybe that's. I mean, we haven't watched it in forever. I mean, but maybe that's because I watched it when I was, I don't know, in my teens. But I remember seeing The Ring for the first time, being unnerved and being like, ah,
The deer scene.
because we always go back to The Ring with these guys, because that's kind of what these movies, high concept movies, kind of feel like, right? Like they have their own set of rules. Smile was like this too. Um, I feel like this movie had a clearer set of rules than Smile.
Definitely.
Like I feel like the rules were better defined, even though there's some stuff that's blurry, maybe purposely. But there's some stuff that's blurry, but I still feel like the rules were better defined. And the concepts like less goofy. If you just stop and think about Smile and the smiling people, you're kind of like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But
this kind of hits
yeah,
closer to home just because of like Ouija board kind of stuff, where you're like, oh yeah,
yeah,
I've tried to contact the dead before, you know.
yeah. We've definitely all tried to contact the dead. It's what we do, but them using it as a drug allegory is kind of interesting and pretty smart, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
So what are we going to rate this, guys? What do you guys give it? 7? Derek says 7.
Man. Yeah, I feel like I'll give it like a 7.5.
Yeah, I'm right with Derek. I give it a 7 as well, because I enjoyed it. I think it's pretty solid. I think the cinematography is really nice on it. I think it looks really good,
Yeah.
and I think the tension's good. I think it's a solid movie. So yeah, 7.
It's like I really don't have any complaints about it.
No, I
I
don't either.
think I think like you said, it's like the rules makes sense. I feel like if I directed a horror movie, it would probably end up something like this, because it was like all the things weren't really like extreme. Like it was just like dead people, a hand, some kids. Like it was like very straightforward. Like the ghosts weren't like mama, or like like with the like floating hair or anything even like that. It was just like literally just humans.
Yeah, with gross makeup on.
Yeah, really gross, man. That one with the eyeball that was like bulging out.
Oh, dude, when Riley tries to rip his eyeball out, that's the part where I was like, oh.
That was so nasty.
I was like,
really good.
Yeah.
I was like, oh God, I feel that one. Oh,
yeah.
Not a fan of that. But you know what? Sometimes a hand's all you need to get the job done.
Oh my God, cut that out.
That's gotta stay. That's the fucking tagline for this episode. Yes! Been waiting to drop that one for a while. I was like,
damn,
when am I going to say the hand job joke? When am I going to do it? I got to find the right time. And I sniped it out.
Nailed it.
So yeah, 7.5. So guys, it's time to Atkinize this bad boy. Who would Tom Atkins be? I guess her dad?
Sure.
Yeah.
Kind of the only character I think that he could
be,
right?
Yeah. It's like the only older man.
Even if we did young Tom Atkins, I just don't know who would
he could be the brother of the
That'd be extremely old.
Kid.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant Riley. I was like, well, that's even before Tom Atkins started acting, probably.
No, I can't think of his name now.
Cole is the brother's name.
Okay, yeah,
of Duckett. Duckett's brother,
Duckett.
Cole.
Yes. That guy. I feel like maybe young Tom Atkins could pull that off.
Maybe.
Because I really liked his character, actually, because you're not with him for very long, but when he like pulls his brother out of that room and is like pointing at everybody like, get your phones off, like that seemed so real to me. I was like,
it did
job.
Trying to protect his brother. Yeah As the oldest brother, I can of 4 boys, I can definitely relate. I could relate to that. So I agree I think that he could do that one, or the dad. I think let's go with Cole, because he's a character that we can see in the future, probably. All right, guys. Derek.
Yep.
I need you to tell me the story about Muncie.
I'm not sure which one you're talking about. Was it the one where it was snowing?
That one. That's a good one. Yeah.
One with
that one's good. I was
train horn.
Say the one where the one where we cooked. This is the one I was thinking of.
No, I mean food. We cooked food, people.
You don't remember that? Yeah, food. Yeah, it wasn't meth. Yeah, you don't remember that? Oh, you're probably really drunk, is why. Yeah, we went over to. We were over. You got annihilated, and I decided to try to make. I used to do this thing where we'd make this thing called Hotspot, which was just this gross food we'd make, but we'd always the base of it was always ramen noodles, right?
Oh, I remember. So we made a concoction and we tried to eat it.
That was it. That's what we did. Yeah.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah, we made that.
And I vividly remember that. I remember taking a bite and.
You ate more of it than the rest of us. You were just like, why not? But yeah, tell the snow story, Derek.
I mean, I vaguely remember. I mean, it was you and I think Jimmy was there, and we were drinking, and it was quite a bit of snow. This was back in the day when it snowed in Indiana. Yeah. And I remember going outside and like leaping over my bushes.
Yeah, he thought he could clear these bushes. He's like, I can jump over this bush. And he landed right in the middle of the bush.
I did not. I landed on the other side. I mean,
you fell over onto the other side.
You know what? Doesn't matter. I still cleared it, okay? The bushes were functional afterwards.
Oh, my God.
I remember he and Jimmy came down, and Jimmy, because he's a crafty dude, had gotten a hold of a train horn. So he had also brought an air compressor. So we were driving around Ball State's campus blowing this train horn at people. And then we got pulled over in my driveway, which was not the first time I got pulled over in my driveway in Muncie. So we got pulled over, and Jimmy was the one who was driving, and luckily I don't know if it's still true.
He talked his way right out of it.
Well, yeah, and the cop was like, "What have you been drinking?" And Jimmy goes, "Baja Blast."
Yeah, Jimmy didn't drink. Yeah.
And I think the cop said something like, "Don't get smart with me." He's like, "No, man, I don't drink." And so, yeah, and the funny part about that, so the interesting part about this was that happened one weekend. The next weekend, I'm hanging out with a buddy that I worked with, and we witnessed a hate crime. So I called the police, and when they got there, they pulled up in my driveway, and it was the same police officer. So he greeted me as, "What's up, train horn?" And so we had to give a statement about this hate crime that we witnessessed. Ball State, man, miss you.
What's up,
really
train
do
horn?
have so many nicknames.
It happened.
Train horn's a good one. I like that.
Yeah. I remember Jamie came to Ball State one time, and I'm like, "Yeah, man, we'll go to these like awesome parties and stuff like that."
Yeah.
He came down on spring break weekend, so literally the entire campus was dead. And I remember us like walking down the like a row of houses where the parties typically are.
We were walking in an alley, and there's just nobody there.
Nobody.
Because Derek's like, "Yeah, come on down. We'll party. It'll be great." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And so, yeah, there's nobody there. So we're walking down the alley, and there's not a single person there. So Derek and I decide, hey, you know what? Let's go to this liquor store here and buy some alcohol. So we buy some beers, and I get a bottle bong, which is like a beer bong just that sits on a bottle. And Derek found this novelty cream called Stay Hard. And he took it with him. I bought it for a friend of ours. So we got back to Derek's apartment, and we tried that bottle bong, and it annihilated us. Like, I mean, well, because you just bong the entire bottle. Did like 4 of them in a row, and we were like annihilated. So we called Domino's because we were hungry and had them deliver us hot wings. Just hot wings. And we're just
Could you imagine trying to do something like that now?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can't now. You could DoorDash, I guess, if you wanted to.
Well, no, I meant like you and I getting drunk. I'm 42.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So now you can just DoorDash.
I might need to do that on Friday, so I have Saturday and Sunday to recover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have kids, so that's not going to work. So I'm not.
You're 41, by the way, Derek. You're 41. You're not 42.
What did I say?
You said 42.
Yeah, I feel like I'm 42. Okay.
No, we'd be trying to think how old I am.
Yeah, we'd be hurt.
31.
That's for sure, Derek. We'd be hurt when we shot. When we were gonna shoot, I saw what I saw. The first time we came, Derek had like really bad back pains, and I was. There's a shot, the shot in the movie where I take a swig. I was using like my real bourbon because I thought I was only going to do it once, maybe twice. Well, we got like 3 shots. Derek's like, "I'm not getting it," and it's like 3 or 4 shots in, and then Derek's like, "Hey man, my back's really hurt. You want to just shoot this next weekend, and you want to go watch Phantasm 2?" And I was like, "Okay." I'm 4 shots in. I'm like, "That sounds good." Derek drinks a couple of shots, and we're both like fucking pretty buzzed watching Phantasm 2. But we did shoot the next weekend and get the movie, and it's up on our channel if you guys want to watch it. The next time, I used tea to be the alcohol, by the way.
And just
me drinking.
I don't have back pain like that. Like I threw my back out or something. So it was. Yeah, you did. I wasn't used to it.
It happens.
I was dead in the water, man. I was dead in the water.
Because I remember you're like, and yeah, I got that after that third take. You're like, "Yeah, man, it was kind of out of focus. Can we try it again?" And I'm like, yeah, sure." It's like, "Hey, man, look, I can see you starting to get obliterated. I was like, on my way. On my way. All right, guys. That wraps up this week's episode of Scream Bloody Movies. Derek, what are we watching next week?
So we're going to do something a little more recent. I had never heard of this movie until like right before we were to get on this podcast, and I was randomly watching some. No, it's not that bad. I don't think.
Okay.
I don't know. I've never seen it, but I was watching YouTube, and a random clip came up, and I'm like, "Oh, this is 100% a Jason knockoff. We got to watch it." So we're gonna watch a movie called Freaky. It came out in 2020, and I think it's
with Vince Vaughn. Yeah, with Vince Vaughn. With Vince Vaughn.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's Vince Vaughn.
Yeah.
Vince Vaughn.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, I've seen it.
You have?
Yeah.
Okay.
Looks like a good one.
So we're watching.
Yeah. Okay, Freaky.
All right,
it's on Peacock.
Good job, Derek.
All right, Freaky. Good one. Good job, buddy.
Every now and then I do the
you
right
pick
thing.
a good one when he's not making us suffer through Rawhead Rexes.
Jamie had so little confidence. Jamie was like, "Oh God, oh no!" Like the whole time you were getting ready to say.
Well, when he said, I just heard about it right before the podcast. I was like, "Oh my God, did he horror generator this?"
I know. I thought he was gonna pick like The Nothing or whatever it was.
One day.
Which could be a good movie. I don't know. I'm not making fun of that movie at all. If that's what it was called, I forget.
The Nothing that's the villain from that terrible rip-off Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Remember that Willy Wonka experience in Scotland?
Oh,
That's what they called the villain. The Nothing. This fucking dude in a mirror.
Yeah. Well, didn't we watch what was the movie? The Night House. Wasn't that like the villain's name in that? Do you guys remember?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think you're right, yeah.
It was like nothing is
nothing
trying to get
no
me or something like that.
Yeah, no one or nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I just found out that those effects were practical in that too.
Yeah, it's in camera stuff. Really good cool stuff. It's a good movie. All right, guys, and that wraps up this week's episode of Scream Bloody Movies. Follow us on all of our social medias. You can follow us at HiLaProductions.com. Follow us on Facebook at HiLa Productions. Follow us on Instagram at Scream Bloody Movies, and we each have our own Twitter accounts. You can follow Derek at DDoglyMaster, Lydia at Lydia Spooky, and me at Racket. Next week we are watching Freaky. 2020's Freaky. It's on Peacock, so watch it there. Comment down below your thoughts on Talk to Me. Also tell us, what kind of Willy Wonka experiences you think should happen in the future. Should we do one should they do a terrible version of, I don't know, Alice in Wonderland? That's like 3 boxes stacked on top of each other, drawn on crayon. Who knows? Talk to me about it. Let's see what we got.
It's like LSD packets at the door.
Yeah. You just drop some acid. So until next week, for Derek Lemaster and Lydia Judy, I'm Jamie Hiles. Remember, if you're gonna scream Bloody Movies.